Nina, run around with that sack. Nina Tech, run around with that gat. Give me space, I don't care if it's packed. Nina Tech, you make it go right, tat, tat. Nina Tech.
My name is Chelsea, and I come from Austin, Texas, and am currently living in Basel, Switzerland, on a fifth semester exchange. So I'll be graduating from college in May, and taking up space, in my opinion, or kind of my perspective, is really being able to vocalize your own opinions and your own perspectives and your own experiences, and being able to be heard, and having that freedom to even want to express your own feelings and your own experiences, because taking something really means that you are actively wanting to accept something or actively pursuing something. So, and that usually takes a certain mindset. So I think that that really has a lot to do with taking space, is feeling comfortable enough in that space and wanting to be heard for your own experiences and your own thoughts and everything that you care about. And I think for me, I think it has a lot to do with how I take up space, and I feel that when I'm in a place that I don't feel comfortable with people or new people, I have a hard time adjusting and wanting to talk and have a conversation and be the one initiating those conversations, because it's not really a place that I'm familiar with, or space. So I think for me, when I take up space, I would like to be in that mindset and be comfortable with the people around me and know that people are accepting of my own judgment and opinions and expressions and things like that. As far as the spaces, I think the kinds of people when I feel most comfortable are the ones that are invested and interested in what I have to say and commenting and giving me feedback, critique. Because I'm an artist, I think that taking up space also has a lot to do with the people that are in that space and the people that want to talk about what you have to say. And I think that that kind of has like a loophole and like a feed, and loophole meaning like people can come into what you're saying and they can comment on those things, and it becomes something more like a group effort, or even if it's positive or negative. I think it's really important that when you're being heard, you definitely know it if somebody disagrees or agrees with you. So I think people that have a lot to say about what you're saying is the best way, in my opinion, to grow and adapt and really try and figure out like, oh, my thoughts are rooted in this, or my concepts are rooted in this, and you find different underlining maybe problems or solutions to what that conversation is about. If people are participating with you and talking about like what you have to say, or whatever topic or things of that nature. I think for me also, I mean, obviously a lot of people are really comfortable with friends and family, people that they create connections with and relationships with. So I think that's really important to think about as well. And I think for me that also has a lot to do with it. People that I'm familiar with and people that I know also really helps me kind of unpack the things that I have to say in this space. I think care is one of the hardest things to do. As an artist and designer, I feel that care is something at the back end of everything. You know, you think about like, what do I need to do for this project? Like, how do I get into contact with people and what that means and how everything kind of comes together. And you don't end up really thinking about like, you are human and you're like putting all these things together, and it's not really something that is something that ever really crosses my mind. I mean, it should cross my mind more, but yeah, I think that self-care is, at least for me, something that I continue to work on, because everything else I find is more rigorous and difficult and more important because of its rigor and difficulty. I mean, care is something that you already know how to, I mean, not know how to do, but in comparison to other things like grocery shopping or things like that, that's something that's automatically planned and it's something that you have a routine with. And I feel like care for yourself always constantly is evolving because you're evolving. So it's something that you always kind of have to keep working at, and it's really difficult. So it's easier to latch, for me, it's easier for me to latch onto other things and create routines and be like, okay, this is a system that I can handle. But self-care is something that's very challenging because it's constantly changing, just like I am. So I have different needs, and I feel different things, and my emotions are always up and down, and sometimes I need ice cream, sometimes I need a banana. Some things don't really equate the same every week too. Sometimes I really need to talk to my parents. Other times I really need to talk to friends and be with friends. And sometimes I just need to be alone, or sometimes I just want to work out, or sometimes I just want to hike or bike, or it really depends on the situation that I'm in. And sometimes I need a partner, sometimes I don't, and I think that's something that also is really a challenge because you don't ever really know how you're going to feel all the time because you're constantly changing and constantly thinking about different things that you need. And I think care in a space specifically really comes with mutual respect, and I think that's a really important thing to remember as well. Kind of what I am taking away from this is that I am seeing kind of this similarity thread between like the things I've said and things I've thought about, which are comfortability and reflection. And I think that being in a space that lets you grow and also challenges you, I think that's something that's really important in people's lives, because if we don't ever reflect on the things that we do, or reflect on the things that we make as artists, or do as like a normal person, like office person or bank or anything like that. I mean, there's no room for growth, and I think that creating a space is welcoming and but also challenging. I think that's something that I think everyone could really benefit from and realize like how they take care of themselves and what they need and how they change, and just being able to reflect on those things I think is very, very important for not just artists. I think it's important for a lot of different people, different backgrounds, and different appreciations. I think art maybe is similar because we constantly reflect on the things we do right or the things we do wrong, and I think that might be the only profession that I know of that is constantly different solutions or different concepts. And I think that through passing all of these different objectives, we have to think about like how we transcend information and how people see the information, and then we constantly have to reflect on what we've learned and how we perceive our own projects, if it was right or wrong, or what to do next and things like that. So I think that having those spaces to reflect and being with people that you trust or new people that are interested in what you have to say, I think that always brings new information and definitely critical information for artists to the table. So, and I think it also works for other professions as well. Like if you are in IT, or if you are a cook, or if you are like, again, a CEO or a business person, you never really grow unless you have this constant reevaluation of how you learn things and how you see the world and things of that nature. So I think it's a very valid point to bring up, having those spaces. So yeah, and I think this definitely brought to light a lot of the things that I'm currently working on as far as care. And I think it's really important to recognize those different challenges that we all face in different ways. So, yeah, thank you. This is a really great experience. So, yeah.